Now I'm going to be going over stakeholders, which are people or groups which can influence the outcomes or the success of these quality improvement projects. So I'm going to be going over the stakeholders, which I chose are patients, nurses, and administration, and their how they affected would be the requirements for the project itself, what the project needs from the stakeholder, their attitudes and risks, and actions that they need to take. So, for the patients, they need a medical need and consent for a Foley catheter. The project needs for them to be willing to learn proper hygiene and techniques, especially since Mr. Jones is going to be at home. He's not going to have a nurse around 24/7. He needs to learn these hygiene techniques and ways to kind of keep the catheter clean. And a possible attitude risk would be his unwillingness to learn and to perform these hygiene techniques. And the action that needs to be taken place is to provide education and the possible risks if he doesn't follow this aftercare, which was shown by his UTI. The nurse's requirement is to be properly trained on the insertion and the aftercare of the urinary catheter. The project requires them to be willing to perform these procedures at a high level properly, at a high standard without cutting corners or being lazy or careless, and also being able to advocate for the early removal of the catheter if it's no longer needed, since prolonged use can increase the likelihood of infection. Possible risks would be, sometimes nurses are really busy and they already don't have a lot of time with the high workload, and enforcing, more strict policies, although it is the standard of care and it shouldn't really influence, it could cause nurses to be upset if something is taking up more time. And for that reason, nurses need to be properly educated and provided with, education opportunities and ways to practice their skills and competencies. Administration, they need to provide proper policies and enforce these policies that they're putting into place. And this is going to ensure that patient safety is, priority by implementing these appropriate policies and holding their staff to higher standards. A possible drawback would be that administration is often complacent, especially since enforcing new policies can often get expensive, so sometimes there's a lot of pushback. But administration needs to just be held accountable and provide these education opportunities for their nursing staff and enforce their policies in order to ensure optimal patient care and patient safety.